Hey, good morning. I am happy to say that we made it through day one. Today's day two of Design the Life You Love. And today we're going to be talking about how to combat being overwhelmed or the feelings of being overwhelmed so that you can be productive and you can be, fulfilled and energized. So I think I said that in the reverse order. But anyway, that's what we're doing today. So yesterday we talked about visible and invisible time sucks. And one thing that I didn't get to, I did actually post it into my group, but I thought I would just mention it because it sucks up such a huge amount of your time. So this actually has been shown to suck up a year of your life on average. So can you guess what that is? I know some of you have already seen it. So if you guessed looking for things, then you're right. So yes, we spend an hour, not an hour, I keep saying that. We spend a year of our life looking for things. So yesterday I gave you guys in my group a couple tasks, and that was to think about, where you might reduce your time sucks in your life. Think about what they are and how to reduce them. And then two, to think about things that you might be looking for on a regular basis and formulate, a plan. Think about what you might do to organize yourself so that you're not spending a year of your life looking for things. And so that's an average. So some people do less and some do more. But anyway, that's just like a huge amount of time. So anyway, onward. So today we're going to talk about the feeling of being overwhelmed. And at any one time, about half the population feels that way. There was a study recently about that. So chances are that if you're not feeling that way today, that you might next week, or, oops, I just lost my microphone, so I'm going to plug that in. Maybe it wasn't in at all. Hold on here. Apologize for that. Anyway, so basically the crux of it is boundaries. So when you think about boundaries, a lot of times you think of it in regard to relationships, your bubble and that sort of thing, where this is where I end and that's where you begin. But what I want to talk about is boundaries around your time and your schedule. So there's a concept, I don't know if I made it up, I think I might have, but I call it white space in your life. And if you know what white space is, typically when you think about white space, it has to do with graphics and text. So when you look at a book, if it's all text, it's hard for your brain to really focus on what it's saying because you're trying so hard to read, all the words, and it's just very kind of overwhelming, right? When there's too many words. And so what authors do and graphic designers and that sort of thing is they create white space around the text. So it actually is part of kind of drawing you into what they're reading, because the white space is actually just as important as what it's saying and how you space things on pages and that sort of thing. So I was thinking about this in regard to our lives. When we read, we like it's easy to read something, a brochure or a book that has lots of white space because it's, it looks good and it feels good to read. Well, I think in our life that we don't have enough white space in our life. We are busy. We cram so much into a day. Yesterday I mentioned that, at the turn of the century, people, like, their whole day might be just, not just, but I mean around making a meal. So it would be like this huge thing that they do, but they didn't, they weren't checking their phones. They weren't, rushing to, to drive their kids back and forth to all the events and soccer games and all that. And so we busy ourselves, and all those things are fun and everything. But if we don't give ourselves that white space or that room to breathe, it feels really cluttered, and you can't really totally appreciate those moments as much. So, so that was something I wanted to introduce to you. I've been trying to do that more. I do feel that it really benefits me when I give myself a little space. And this isn't necessarily me time, although I guess in a sense it is, but it's kind of a time that is downtime. So you could pray, you could meditate, you could just kind of think and reflect, or do something just really calm and relaxing that isn't busy. And it just kind of relaxes your mind. It helps you to just kind of unwind, and then it creates that space around, these other things that are very jam-packed. And I just feel like it puts so much more balance in my life when I'm able to do that. So I wanted to share that with you. And the other thing is, when we're talking about balance and boundaries, is, we need to, when we are doing our schedule, I would encourage you to put space around your activities. So if you think it's going to take you, an hour to get ready in the morning, then plan for an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes. Give yourself buffers of time. If you have a little extra time, if you end up getting finished early, 10 minutes early, then maybe, use that for your white space activity, whatever that is. Or, you may have other things that you want to do. But the thing is that when we cram too many things in and we try to do too much too fast, it creates stress in our life. So that's another tip, is just to try to kind of create that. I'm going to look at my notes here to make sure. Okay, so I'm going to dive into, I actually realized when I was putting this together this morning, wow, this one topic could be a whole 5-day challenge. I mean, what the amount of stuff that I put in your workbook and, asked you to reflect on and all that is a lot. So I realize that. So I don't expect you to, revamp your whole life in 5 days, but I think it's food for thought. And if you can think about these things, I'm going to run through some of them. Okay. If you think about these things that really help you to, to be taking care of yourself, because that's what boundaries are, is taking care of yourself. So when you talk about boundaries in relationship, you're taking care of you. When you're talking about boundaries around your time, you're taking care of you. And in order to have the happiest, most fulfilled life, we have to be at our best to really fully enjoy, right? So the first part or section is around your health. So, this is all old news, but, if you don't have enough sleep, if you don't have the proper nutrition, if you're not exercising, if you're not, having those physical needs met, then you don't feel your best and you're not able to operate, and that creates stress. You're not able to be as productive, and that's been shown to be true. If you're way more productive if you're getting your 8 hours of sleep and that sort of thing. So that would be kind of the first bottom line thing I would say, is just to really take care of yourself. Let's see. Oh, and I mentioned the white space, but what I did, I'm picking up my notes because I want to make sure I cover everything. The other thing is that you, in addition to really, kind of putting this bubble of time around your activities and creating little times of rest for your brain, with the white space is what I'm going to call it, what you also will benefit from it as far as balance is to have a separation in your day. What I mean by that is a clear separation from your work and from your pleasure activities. So in this day and age, we constantly are bombarded with stimuli, right? It's exhausting. So we need time to rest and to reflect, and we need some time, some downtime, right? To have fun. This is a struggle for me, actually. I was raised to be productive. That's in my blood. It's, and so I have to actually literally schedule time in and do these little tricks. Like I tell my kids I'm going to do something fun so that they will keep me to it, because I can just like work myself to death, if I let myself. So you really want to have a separation and between your work and your relaxation time. So what we see often is people multitasking, and I know there's only so much time in the day, but truly, if you you cannot. They've shown that you really can't think about more than one thing at a time, and so if you're multitasking, you are exhausting yourself. It is really impossible for your brain to differentiate two different things if you're doing them at the same time. So anyway, that is just kind of it in a nutshell. I did share with you that our promise that I would tell you a little tip around saying no, because that's something that's really challenging, particularly I think for women. But we have a hard time saying no and really thinking about what we are able to do. So we often say yes because we want to help, we want to have people like us, or, and we think at the moment maybe we can do it. But one of the things that I have found really helpful is to use this line, and I'm going to give you an example. So basically it goes like this. Someone, asks me to do something, and I've taught myself to pause and give myself a moment to say, oh, you know what, I'm going to have to look at my schedule. I'm not sure. That might be a little tight, because I may not even know what my schedule is, but I want to make sure before I commit that I actually can do the thing that I'm committing to, that it's, that I've really thought about, my schedule. So that buys you a little time. But the thing that I have found really helpful is just to say, oh, shoot, you know what? I have plans that day. That simple. You don't have to tell them what your plans are. They don't need to know your schedule. If you don't want to do it, or when they ask you, that's just a very simple phrase that I've used. And I'll give you an example. I had a friend, he actually doesn't do Facebook, so I think I'm pretty safe here, but I have a friend who really wanted to get together, and it was just kind of a really busy, kind of hard time in my life. I just really didn't feel up to it. And so anyway, he had asked me, you want to get the kids together and go to the park or something? And in my gut, I was thinking, oh, I don't want to say no, but I really didn't want to do it. And so I used that tool, and I said, oh, shoot. I said, I'm sorry, I have plans, right? It was kind of a spur of the moment, invitation, but that was it. Oh, okay, maybe another time, right? And so that really worked. You know what my plans were? To stay in my pajamas and do nothing. I just did not feel like doing anything. I didn't have to say that. That would make him feel bad, right? If I said, I'm sorry, I'd rather stay in my pajamas and do nothing today than to spend time with you. No, you're not going to say that. But, oh, I'm sorry, I have plans today. And I did. I really wanted, we wanted a day to relax, me and my kids. We had a busy week, and I didn't feel up to it. So anyway, I'll leave you with that. If you are watching this and you haven't, gotten on board with the Design Your Life You Love workshop, and you want to, I am totally willing. You can hop on anytime through Friday. At Friday, that's it. That's the end of it. But we have 3 more days, and at the end, I am going to be putting up all the videos so that anybody that comes in late, they can catch those. So anyway, this weekend you'll have an opportunity to do that, and if you missed something, those of you in the group, you can do that at the end, okay? So have a great day. Be sure to do your activity today, Design Your Lifers, and post your comment in the group, okay? Talk to you later. Bye.